Welcome to the campus of Plano Senior High School, where the Highland Park Scots will attempt to claim their third consecutive non-district tournament championship. Hello again, everybody. The very happiest of holidays to you and yours from wherever you may be joining us this Thursday afternoon. I'm Brian Sutcliffe here with my good friend, the one and only, the legendary Miles Dunklin. So glad you could join us for this live broadcast of Highland Park Scots varsity basketball. The Scotties have already won two tournaments this season, the HP Scott Classic and the Union Square Bulldog Classic in Burke-Burnett in just the first couple months of the season. HP will look to make it three in as many opportunities as they get things going in the 2012 Plano Wildcat Holiday Classic against the Irving Tigers. And Miles, the last time the Scots entered a tournament bracket, they were having to bounce back from a very difficult loss. Unfortunately, history has repeated itself after the Scots were shocked at home on Friday in the district opener by Mesquite Poteet, 47-40.
Yeah, unfortunately, they fell to 0-1 in district play, not exactly the way that they wanted to start off 10-4A play, but thankfully, like you said last time, they do have some history on their side. They were able to dominate the Scott Classic after that loss to Midlothian, so hopefully they can come back well after a rebounding loss, a loss to Poteet, and come back and do well in this tournament here and hopefully get back on the right track going to district play.
It'll be a 12-4 Highland Park squad against a 2-12 team from Irving, another 5A squad. It seems like game after game we've been talking about the Scotties taking on 5A squads in non-district play. This is a good bracket here in the Plano tournament as we're getting set to get things going. The Highland Park Scots are 12-4, 0-1 in District 10-4A. They're coached by David Peeler in his 7th season, 166 wins against only 46 defeats, taking on Stephen Perry's Irving Tiger squad. Irving 2-12. They are 1-1 in District 10-5A. The starting lineup for the Irving Tigers at guard, number 2, R.J. Wills, a 6'1 junior. The other guard is number 5, David Brown, a senior, 5'10". The forwards are number 1, Michael Coley. He's their leading scorer. He's a junior, 6'3". The other forward is number 21, Edgardo Bastillos. He's a 6'2 senior. The big man manning the middle, number 55, Grant Bowman. He's the post, a 6'3 junior. For David Peeler's Highland Park Scots, the point guard is number 3, Matt Fraschilla, a 5'10 senior. The off guard, number 10, Matthew Kreitz, a junior, 6'3". The wings are number 2, Chase Fletcher, a 6'7 senior, and number 20, Will Miller, a senior, 6'5". The single post is number 52, Clayton Murtha, a 6'5 junior. So the loss to Poteet snapped a 19-game district winning streak for the Scotties and snapped a 5-game overall win streak. The Scots in their road blues will move from left to right here in opening round play. The Scots will attack the basket to the right in the first half. It's Chase Fletcher and Michael Coley tipping it off, and it's won by the home team in this game, the Irving Tigers.
Yeah, Brian, Plano's losing to Irving is losing to their opponents on average by about 8 points a game. Highland Park beating their opponents by about 8 points a game. So Scots should have a pretty favorable matchup tonight if they play their best basketball.
It's an Irving Tiger squad that's having a hard time scoring this season, averaging only 47.1 points per game. And Miles, they have yet to hit 60 in a game this year. So Irving experiencing some of the issues that the Scotties faced in the first half or so of the season, as HP's offensive numbers have been getting better. They're over the 54 points per game mark, nearly 55 points, 54.9 to be exact, while allowing a paltry 46.4.
Yeah, if the trends hold true, this game should be about 55-47 because that's exactly what Highland Park is allowing on the season, and that's exactly what Irving is allowing as well, only scoring about 47 per game while allowing 55.
Can imagine you may see a little bit of sketchy play here early on as both teams are seeing action for the first time after the Christmas break, as Michael Coley, who had 19 points in the last Irving game, a 1-point heartbreaker, 52-51 in a district game against LD Bell. That's a game that Irving supporters really thought they should have had, and well, they're only 2-12. That would have given them a 2-0 district start. There's that nice high-low from Murtha to Chase Fletcher. And Clayton Murtha's been very good at assisting his teammates this year. He's 4th on the team in assists.
Yeah, that's a bonus from your big man. We're able to get production in the assist department. A really good contest that time by Chase. The exact same thing last time, but just too good a position by Irving. Can't let him catch it down that low.
It's Michael Coley 4, Chase Fletcher 2. 6:25 left first quarter. Brian Sutcliffe, Miles Dunklin, glad you've joined us as Fraschilla tried to kick it out to the wing for Matthew Kreitz. And Miles, one of the struggles the Scots had against Poteet was the ability and overall willingness for the most part to take the outside shot. And we'll see if Irving D's up the Scots like Poteet did, which was sagging a lot of players down below the free throw line and challenging the Scots to shoot it. There weren't a lot of players other than Will Miller, who took 10 three-pointers in the game, that were too eager to tee it up from 15-plus feet. There was Frischilla with a steal. He finds Kreitz, who
really nice
spins
finish.
it over the rim for 2.
Yeah, just a gift, a steal that time by Matt. They threw it right to him, and a great job initiating the offense. That's assist number 1 on the evening for Matt. He's averaging 8.8 dimes per game. Unbelievable production.
He was second in the area in assists last year at 7.6, and now he's up near 9 as the right wing 3 balls missed by Edgardo Bastillos.
Yeah, but Brian, you spoke to the lack of perimeter potency by the Scots as Murtha blew the lay-in right there, gets his own rebound, and he'll go to the line. But they've only made 51 three-pointers on the season in 16 games, so do some math there. That's not exactly hitting too many shots from the outside, and 23 of those have come from Will Miller. So he's hitting about half of the three-point production for Highland Park. They really need somebody else to be able to step it up and spread the floor a little bit to let Chase Fletcher operate inside.
Clayton Murtha has his first point of the game. He didn't score against Poteet, just the first time since the season opener against TCA Addison that Clayton Murtha, the 6'5 junior, hasn't scored in a game. He hits the first of 2 free throws as the Scots have the lead 5-4 on the season. Murtha, about a 69% free throw shooter, so been one of the better free throw shooters on the team for a squad that's continuing to improve from the line. He goes 2 for 2.
Yeah, always good when you can get your big guys to hit their free throws. And Clayton not only efficient from the line, efficient from the floor as well. About 63% from the floor on the season. You'll take that any time.
Clayton Murtha leaves after making the 2 free throws. We're welcomed to Derek Kahn's appearance, number 44, the 6'5 junior. Left side 3 was missed by Christian Jimenez. A JV call up. He's had a nice impact since he's been in, as Will Miller strokes that left elbow jumper, and Coach Stephen Perry wants a timeout. A nice little push here by the Scotties with 5:13 left in the first. HP 8, Irving 4. We'd like to remind you that HP Basketball's annual Hoops and Hot Sauce Dinner and Auction is coming up Friday, February 1st. For more information on tickets, underwriting, and auction donations, email hoopsandhotsauce@gmail.com.
Yeah, Brian, so far this year, Scott's been pretty good in tournament play. It's 7-1. Of course, took the Scott Classic and won in Burke Burnett. And then 4-0 on neutral sites as well, as they took all 4 games in Burke Burnett.
The Scots participated in this tournament last year when it was known as the Avery Air Invitational. They wiped out Richardson in their opening round game 70-33, and then were upset by the Creekview Mustangs, who are now a district opponent for the Scotties. HP dropped that one 65-62. It was the last loss of the regular season for the Scots, who ended up losing to Kimball in the second round of the playoffs. That was a 3-point loss against Creekview. And then they were then pitted in a consolation bracket matchup with McKinney, who was a district foe for the Scots that year, and Wes Watson and David Peeler got together and said, you know what, I don't think either of us wants to show our hands before district play, so why don't we just head back to the house and enjoy the rest of our weekend, as David Brown banks in a 3.
Yeah, that's a little lucky play for Irving right there. Obviously not trying to bank that one in from the perimeter. As Garrison's into the game, a guy who provides a little bit of outside punch.
Number 5, the 6'4 senior, nice baseline spin away from the pressure.
Wow.
Chase Fletcher lays it in. He's got 4, averaging nearly 15 points per game. Had his second consecutive 20-plus point effort against Poteet with 22, just 1 off his season high.
And Brian, the 3 ball is not falling for Chase this year. Only 1 of 12 from the perimeter, but he's shooting very, very well from the inside of the arc at 60%.
Wills takes it inside to Kishion Mitchell. He missed the shot. Trey Garrison has the rebound. Scots lead by 3, 10-7, 4:12 left. Clock rolling, first quarter. Kahn floats it with the right hand. He didn't score against Poteet either, so we had some guys who typically are pretty good offensive performers that were just really stifled against Poteet, as the Scots scored their fewest points of the season, losing 47-40.
Well, with this team, Brian, it's really as Irving hits an outside shot there to tie the game up at 10-10. It's Fletcher who's responsible for about 28% of the Highland Park offense at 15 points per game, and Will Miller at about 11 points a game, as Fletcher gets an easy deuce that time, a great pass. But other than that, it's really just a lot of role players, and kind of any given game, one of those guys can step up.
That was Will Miller with a really pretty assist to the cutting Chase Fletcher. The Scots have regained the lead, 12-10. The winner of this game will take on the victor between the game that happens right after ours between Richardson and Southeast Oklahoma City. That game will be played tomorrow at 11:30. The loser of this one will play Lake Highlands, who lost an overtime thriller against the Prosper Eagles, 84-74. We'll take you through the rest of the bracket here in just a moment, but we'll say hello for the first time to number 13, Ben Livingston, the 6'1 senior. Jake Stiganga, number 11, a 5'10 junior in as well. And senior captain Matt Wilson, number 32, the 6'4 senior, in for his first action. This time it's Kahn to Garrison for two.
Yeah, that's a staple for Coach Peeler, and love that action at the elbow and able to get that pass down low. That was Kahn delivering an excellent pass to Garrison on the cut.
We're seeing much better offensive balance early on than we saw against Poteet, as Chase Fletcher and Will Miller combined for 35 of the Scots' 40 points. Shot was missed. Christian Jimenez couldn't hit from the spot opposite the one he drained the three a couple possessions ago, and the Scots will get it. HP only had 4 players score in that Poteet game, but only 2 field goals combined between Matt Frischilla and Matthew Kreitz. Left side triple. Trey Garrison's got 5.
Yeah, and that's huge for Highland Park. Obviously, we've already spoke about the lack of outside shooting that the Scots have this year, and Garrison's one of those guys that can score from the outside on the season. Garrison
averaging about 3 points per game.
About 30% from the outside, so definitely one of those guys that can shoot it.
Ball was deflected. Here comes Livingston and the Scotties. He's got Garrison to his left. He's got Derek Kahn running the lane. Nice play there by the senior Ben Livingston to get that ball up on the glass, and he'll earn a trip to the free throw line. 2:01 left, first quarter. Scots by 7, 17-10.
Ryan, definitely some positive developments early on here with Highland Park scoring 17 points, still 2 minutes remaining in the quarter. Their high point so far this season, 22 in the first quarter. And considering, Brian, that in their last game they only scored 18 points in the last half of basketball, they played 17 here in this first quarter. Not too bad a mark for Coach Peeler.
Livingston goes 0 for 2 this time. The ball's out of bounds to Irving with exactly 2 minutes left in the first quarter. HP leading 17-10. Kreitz back on the floor as Livingston gets a break. HP showing a little bit of pressure in the defensive backcourt. Nelson Villatoro kicks it out to Mitchell. Mitchell will float the right-hander up. Toilet bowls out. Rebound Derek Kahn.
Yeah, really good contest that time by Matt Wilson. And a bad foul that time by Irving on Stiganga. But Matt is such a very well-disciplined player. Great awareness out there, always in the right place at the right time. And that's not something that goes down in the box score, but a really nice contest that time by Matt.
Wilson on his way to Oklahoma State to play baseball.
Yeah, he's really an exciting player to watch come baseball season. Southpaw, left-handed pitcher, really has a bright future ahead of him. Great curveball, changeup, and not a bad fastball to go along with it.
Michael Coley just checked in for the Tigers, the leading scorer. Dropped 25 on Fort Worth Arlington Heights earlier this season. Just 2 wins for Irving this year. Nice look. Kahn to Kreitz. Coley might have gotten his hand on it, but sticking with it, getting the offensive rebound and the stick back was Matthew Kreitz. Count the bucket and the foul, the 4th against Irving. There's still 1 minute and 14 seconds left in the first quarter.
Yeah, great stick-withedness that time by Kreitz.
And that is absolutely a word. Scott's 3 for 5 at the line in this game. Nelson Villatoro in running the point. He is 5'4". Not the shortest player we've seen this season, or probably many others. That
he's got that high top fade, though. I think it's up to about 5'6". Count the hair.
Villatoro has it in, trying to do battle with a 6'4" Matt Wilson, and the Scotties swipe it away. Here comes Stiganga. Stiganga goes to the crossover, escapes from Villatoro, and they'll set up the offense with 50 seconds left. HP doubling up Irving 20-10. Kreitz will back things off. 35 seconds.
Good thought that time by Derek trying to find Matt Wilson down low, but good active hands by Irving and a turnover by the Highland Park.
25 seconds left. Scots lead it 20-10. It's Kevon Thomas, a sophomore. Only 2 seniors on Irving's varsity roster. Team still really trying to establish some consistent winning. A team that went 8-22 last year. They lost their first 8 games of the season. They have 6 defeats this year by double figures, but just one of those has fallen within the last 6 games. So it's a squad that's playing better.
Yeah, good active hands by Garrison that time. He's a guy more of an offensive player, but he's going to find himself in the rotation a lot more often if he continues to make good hustle on defense like that.
Thomas in the corner will lob it into the backcourt for Villatoro. 8 seconds left. Given some space by Kahn at the top of that 1-3-1. To the baseline, Coley. He traveled. Great defensive positioning there by Jake Stiganga.
Yeah, Jake's strength of his game might not be low post defense, but at a good time sliding in front of the defender on the offensive player on the baseline and forcing the turnover.
Less than 3 seconds left. The ball was last touched by Michael Coley, and that's fortuitous for the Scots as they'll get to bring it about 15 feet closer. Only a half second ticked off the clock. Into Stiganga. Jake, good if it goes. Didn't miss it by much. Good first quarter for the Highland Park Scots. They'll head to the second, leading the Tigers of Irving 20-10. At Texas Capital Bank, we're driven by an unwavering mission to serve Texas businesses and the entrepreneurs and families who run them. Since our beginning in 1998, we've grown into one of the state's largest independent banks, with offices in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and San Antonio. Texas Capital Bank is proud to support the Highland Park Scots and wishes the team great success this season. And Miles, a good push the last 4 minutes or so of that first quarter. It was pretty evenly played early on, but the Scots have taken control the last 4 to 5 minutes of the first.
Yeah, really not doing anything out of their character. Good to see Livingston, or excuse me, it was Garrison, hit the outside shot there early on. That's a good development for Highland Park. But more than anything, Brian, it's good to see 20 points put up on the board early in the game like that, something they've only done twice all season, 20 points in the first quarter. So a great start, and obviously happy with doubling the score of the opponent in that opening quarter.
The Plano Wildcat Holiday Classic had a rather unusual bracket, as you had 15 teams enter the tournament. You say 15, don't you need 16? And yeah, you normally do, but what that means is the Marcus Marauders get an automatic bye to the second round. Wiley East and Jesuit played the first game of the tournament, a game won by Jesuit 76-36.
Yeah, we know how good Jesuit is.
A very good team. That's a squad the Scots could face off if they advance all the way to the final. Mesquite took down Frisco Heritage in what might be considered a small upset, 66-59, and then it was Prosper beating Lake Highlands 84-74. Irving and Highland Park are getting things done right now as Murtha finds Kreitz. It won't fall, but he'll earn a trip to the free throw line. The winner of this game will take on the victor between Richardson and Southeast Oklahoma City. And then the final 2 games of the night at 5 o'clock today, it's Plano. The home-standing Wildcats take on the Creekview Mustangs, who beat the Scotties in the second round last year. And then you've got Bishop Lynch and North Mesquite rounding things out.
Yeah, Brian, that was great action that time between Murtha. We've already spoke about his ability to pass the ball. Already has an assist in this one. Another assist right there is what Coach Peeler will call an assist, as he got his teammate to the free throw line. Great backdoor pass. More substitutions for Highland Park.
Matthew Kreitz is 3 for 3 at the line. The Scotties 5 for 7, and HP has its largest lead, 22-10.
Kaufman's
Number 4,
in there.
Mitchell Kaufman, the sophomore, in for the first time. Livingston back in as well. Will remain out there with Jake Stiganga. Left side shot missed. Edgardo Bastillos. They'll throw it back up for Kevon Thomas to save another possession for the Tigers.
Kaufman's a guy who can really add rebounding, very athletic, and really impressed with his frame. For a guy who's only a sophomore, he looks like he's been in the weight room for a couple of years now. He'll be a beast by the time he leaves.
R.J. Wills tried to find Coley, but going down onto the floor.
What a great play by Kaufman that time, earning possession of the basketball, diving on the floor, like I just said, active, athletic, and not only able to get possession, but also a foul on Plano 90 feet from the basket. So not exactly, on Irving.
And that's the 6th of the first half, so the Scots shoot the bonus the rest of the way. HP with only 2 team fouls. And you like what Stiganga can give you at that backup point guard spot. Matt Frischella has had to play so much this year. He leads the team in minutes at over 27 per game.
I think the main thing that Stiganga adds is ball handling and just confidence from Coach Peeler that he can initiate the offense without turning the rock over too much and also get the occasional assist and can also hit from the perimeter as well.
6:40 left first half as Clayton Murtha thought he'd forced a steal, but instead he picks up the foul.
Yeah, Jake's 42% from the outside, and as we've said already, that Scots need all the help they can get in that department.
As we just close out the look at the first round matchups, the last game of the night, or the second to last game of the night, will be Bishop Lynch against North Mesquite, and then you'll have the first second round game as Marcus takes on Jesuit. Jesuit, the only team that will be forced to play 2 games today. I reckon they can handle it. They may be the favorite to win this thing.
I would think so. They were very impressive at Highlander Fieldhouse. And Brian, this is 4 reserves in there with Murtha, who's already got 2 rebounds and 2 assists in this one. The Scots can make a surge here with all their starters, primary starters on the bench. Be a positive for Coach Peeler.
Livingston will crank it from the free throw line. He missed it. Murtha fights for the rebound. Livingston thought that the Irving Tigers had touched it last, and just like that, we'll see some fresh Scotties. Chase Fletcher, Matt Frischella back on the floor, along with sophomore Ryan Brady. We've got number 23 Brooks in as well, a JV call-up, seeing his first action on the varsity squad.
And he's going to be called for a push. Any combination, I believe, of Fletcher and Murtha out there, really the best lineup for Highland Park. Just size that Irving cannot match.
Big stuff by Chase Fletcher as Coley tried to take it up strong and was rejected at the top floor by Fletcher. And there's a timeout taken by David Peeler. The Scots will have the ball. They lead it 22-10 with 5:38 left in the first half.
What a play by Chase right there. It was a 3-on-1 for Irving. It looked like they had an easy lay-in, and Chase, only man back that time on the fast break, but able to get the swat and then dive on the floor to get possession of the ball.
If Highland Park is able to win this game, they would take on the winner between Richardson and Southeast Oklahoma City. That game would tip at 11:30 tomorrow morning. If the Scotties fall short in this one, then they would play Lake Highlands in a consolation game at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon.
Brian, I think it's a very encouraging sign about the team's focus and willingness, coachability overall. Here we're sitting 2 days after Christmas, and the Scots executing very well so far in the first half. One of the things that's always got that Highland Park has going for it, coachability, willingness, and receptiveness of these kids to the coaching staff of Coach Peeler, and what they're willing to learn all the time. As Frischella with a nice little teardrop in the lane there.
Little 3-on-2 quickly into the front court. Irving had numbers for just a moment, but HP able to recover nicely on defense. Left side triple missed by David Brown. Rebound to Brooks. Frischella nearly has it knocked away, but HP will have it with 5:08 left second quarter. Scotties lead at 24-10.
And Matt tried to draw the foul there. Thought he earned one. He does such a good job of giving that little extra body movement to sell the foul. Just such a savvy player. You can tell he's been well schooled, well coached all his life. Really an extension of the coaching staff out there.
That's not fair. That was halfway down, and then Chase Fletcher on the rebound was fouled from behind.
Yeah, that one was
7th team foul against Irving.
Was about 3/4 of the way down, just couldn't fall. And Chase will head to the free throw line where he's really kind of struggled this year, only about 55% from the line.
That percentage has been going up, though, as has the Scots as a team. They're averaging 61.6% from the free throw line, but that number was down in the 50s for the first 7 or 8 games this year.
Yeah, and we know Chase has the touch to be able to play on the perimeter. Last year he shot 40% from the three-point line. So we know he certainly has it in him. One of the things that makes Chase a pretty decent prospect at his size, at 6'7", he can stretch the floor, play like a stretch three, maybe at the next level possibly.
The Scots have shot 60% or better at the line in 5 of their last 7 games and in 3 straight. And just like that, I jinxed him. That one's on me, Chase. Scott's not too shabby for the game, though. 6 for 8 at the line. They lead it by 15, 25-10. It's been a while since Irving has scored, and it'll be a little bit longer as Matt Fraschilla was shoved. And now the senior captain, Matt Fraschilla, will stride to the charity stripe to shoot the front end of a 1-and-1, as that's the 9th team foul against Irving.
Yeah, particularly bad foul against Irving. They were trying to earn the back court violation that time, but you never want to foul a guy when you're in the bonus. The other team's in the bonus that's not in any position to threaten you to score the basketball, and certainly the case right there with Matt about 50 feet away from the bucket.
Make that the 8th team foul. Fraschilla missed the front end, but another rebound for Chase Fletcher. He gets the easy putback. Just throwing up a prayer was Keyshawn Mitchell, but there to clean things up was Grant Bowman for his first 2 points of the game, and the first points for Irving in a while.
Yeah, that ended up working out like a really nice pass. Wasn't what he intended originally. And the Scots really controlling this one so far, up 15. Unfortunate miscommunication, turnover right there. Scots back in a 2-3 zone look.
4:25 left, first half. Scots lead at 27-12. Ball was knocked up.
For Shella, what active hands.
It'll come to Thomas, and he'll float it up and in. Kevon Thomas has his first 2 points. Scotties by 13. 27-14. Skip it over to Brady. Brady will take it baseline, create some space. He'll shoot the 1-and-1. That'll be a shooting foul. It should be 2 free throws.
Yeah, great job by Matt, probing the defense, keeping the dribble alive. Great vision.
This is the 10th free throw attempted by the Scots. Irving has yet to have a crack at it.
Well, I think that's indicative of the overall aggressiveness that Highland Park's had. If you look at the shot chart so far in this one, you'd see that most of the looks for Highland Park have been going toward the basket, driving at the rim. Irving doesn't have the guys to protect the rim that they need against this aggressive Highland Park attack off the dribble. So far, they've been very good. And then, of course, once you get to the line, you want to hit the free throws, and they've done that as well. So it's contributed to a 15-point lead.
29-14 after the sophomore Ryan Brady pots both. David Brown was harassed. He'll kick it out to Villatoro. Villatoro has it blocked from behind by Clayton Murtha. The team's leader in blocks, had 8 coming into this one, make it 9. Brooks will take it up, float it up with the right hand. He missed it. Clayton Murtha trying to avoid stepping on anyone. Down low, and on the third chance, he puts it in the foul.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier with the stick-withedness that time by Clayton Murtha. And just not giving up on the play at all, getting 2 offensive rebounds. He's been a beast in this one. That's 5 rebounds already for Clayton.
The Scots were out-rebounded 24-13 by a Poteet squad that didn't have a player taller than 6'3". It's been a much different story here as right on cue, another offensive rebound, this one by Chase Fletcher.
Yeah, Chase does a great job, Brian, on the offensive glass. He's got 99 rebounds so far this year, 32 of those coming on the offensive end. Clayton Murtha's got 27, but Chase definitely the best offensive rebounder on the club.
Fraschilla in the corner. Throws it off David Brown. HP will try to get it set back up. It's Fraschilla, Miller, Fletcher, Murtha, and Brooks on the floor for David Peeler's Highland Park Scots.
Other than Kreitz, this is the same 5 that started the game for Highland Park. Miller's really yet to get into the action so far, which bodes well for Highland Park, considering they've already scored 31.
Chase trying to hit his second 3 ball of the season. Hasn't been shooting many. Hadn't had a lot of confidence in that outside shot, but he's gotten a lot better at the free throw line. I think we can expect Chase to regain that confidence. We've seen him hitting some of that 15 to 18-foot baseline stuff the last few games.
Good contest by Murtha. Good defensive rebound by Fletcher. Good team defense overall by the Scotties.
Fraschilla, no-look dump to the right block. Murtha takes it up strong for the bucket.
What else can you say about that play right there by Matt Fraschilla? Great overall awareness, and he can deliver the ball from so many different angles. Murtha just got too deep a position that time for Irving to deal with him.
Murtha reaches around from behind against Grant Bowman.
I think Clayton's really developing as one of the better players on this squad, a very well-rounded player when you talk about blocks, rebounds, assists, the ability to score the basketball, his size, and he's still only a junior.
Had 9 blocks coming into this one, so we need to give him his 10th. He had it early in the second quarter. Little quick release 3 was halfway down, unlucky. Christian Jimenez.
That's rebound number 7 for Murtha on the night.
Murtha in his last 3 averaging 8 rebounds per game, so he's on his way to another double-figure rebound game. Murtha and Fletcher have been way too much for Irving to handle down there in the low block.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. That duo of size, the Twin Towers for Highland Park, Murtha at 6'5", Fletcher at 6'7", and nobody on the floor really for Irving with the ability to contend with that and the size they do have. Grant Bowman in foul trouble at this point. I'm not sure how many personals he's got. They're not putting that on the board, but I think he's been whistled several times, and he'll take a seat.
Will really go way back. Reminds you of the days of Bonner McDermott and Kevin Dolan.
Sure.
When the Scotties had a couple of those
Absolutely.
big guys man in the paint. Guess we'll date ourselves a little bit. That wasn't that long ago. Right? That wasn't that long ago,
yeah.
right? Come on, you're supposed to back me
I'm
up
not
there.
old now.
Clayton goes 1 for 2. HP 9 for 14 at the line. Once again, Irving has yet to attempt a free throw. Seeing some tough defense in the backcourt by the Scots as Kahn and Fraschilla. That was very close as Luis Ronquillo able to avoid the backcourt violation. Stepping into the 3 ball, it was missed. R.J. Wills can't hit the shot, tapped up. Chase Fletcher comes away with it.
It's good to be tall.
Here comes Brooks. Brooks draws some contact. He'll shoot 2 free throws.
Yeah, he's been very aggressive since he's been in the ball game. Coach Peeler not only calling him up from the JV and getting him some run, but getting him some run with the first team here. It's really the guys that started the game and he in there, and he's been very aggressive. But back to Chase in that last play. Sometimes basketball just comes down to being taller than the other guy, and that time Chase with a couple inches on everybody else around him, just able to tip the ball to himself. And Scott's now opening up a 21-point lead. Make it 22.
Brooks goes 2 for 2. He's got his first 2 points as a varsity player, and it's all HP, 36-14, with 2:08 left in the first half. I'm Brian Sutcliffe with Miles Dunklin. So glad you've joined us.
This pressure D by Highland Park's been very effective. Not necessarily forcing turnovers every time, but really getting Irving in scramble mode. They really have not been able to get set up very often. They end up taking bad shots. Like that one right there.
Offensive foul. There's Chase Fletcher. He took 3 in the game against Poteet on Friday. That tied him for his season high, the 3rd time that he's done it.
And that's the 2nd time in this game, Brian, that it's been a 3-on-1 fast break for Irving with Chase Fletcher the only guy back. And he's been able to stop the fast break opportunity for Irving. So Chase really getting it done every facet of the game. Those 2 bigs for Highland Park, Fletcher and Murtha, have been the difference.
Scotty's hitting another triple. It's 39-14.
Good on-ball defense on the perimeter by Matt. That's one of the strengths of his game.
3 ball missed by David Brown.
And there's Stevie Smathers in the game and getting a rebound.
Hope you'll join us for the halftime show as we'll walk you through the first look at the District 10 4A standings as all 8 teams played their first game last Friday. We'll walk you through where the Scotties currently reside. Not where they want to be at 0-1. Garrison hits the trailer. It's Kahn.
That was just really good offense by Highland Park all the way around. Good ball movement. I think all 5 guys touched it on that sequence and got it deep.
The
That time
Scots
to Derek Kahn.
have their second 20-plus point quarter today. They had 20 in the first. Now they have 21 in the second.
We talked before the game in the open about how Highland Park has been able to bounce back from losses this season. They only had 18 points in that second half against Poteet, and now 41 points in the next 2 quarters. So certainly a good sign. It'd be a lot more disturbing if we see a couple games in a row where the Scots unable to score, but a very, very positive development this afternoon.
That's the first free throw attempted of the game by Irving, by R.J. Wills. He hit it.
They just haven't been as aggressive as Highland Park. And a really bad foul that time by Irving.
Well into the double bonus.
You don't want to foul a guy, especially a guy who's shooting 90% plus from the charity stripe, that far away from the basket when he's not threatening to score when you're in the double bonus like that. If they only had 5 team fouls, that wouldn't be such a bad foul, but in the double bonus, that's a bad mistake. And I jinxed it.
That one was on
90%.
We're even now.
At the line.
We will line up for verbal berating after this game, as that's been about all that hasn't gone the Scots' way in this one.
Yeah, Brian, when you look at Miller this year shooting 50% from the field, 90% from the line, and almost 40% from 3. Very efficient.
Just throwing it up wildly was Kevon Thomas. Rebound, Will Miller. Called for the travel. 15 seconds left. The Scots have attempted 18 free throws in the first half.
Wow.
They've attempted more free throws than Irving has scored points.
Wow. Coach Peeler's goal, Brian, is make more free throws than the other team attempts, but I don't think he ever had in mind make more free throws than the other team has points.
2 seconds. There's Wills. He'll spin, get off a long 2, and he missed it. A first half of play that's been dominated by the Highland Park Scots. They head to the halftime locker room leading the Irving Tigers 42-16. At Texas Capital Bank, we're driven by an unwavering mission to serve Texas businesses and the entrepreneurs and families who run them. Since our beginning in 1998, we've grown into one of the state's largest independent banks with offices in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and San Antonio. Texas Capital Bank is proud to support the Highland Park Scots and wishes the team great success this season. The Highland Park Scots lost their district opener to the Poteet Pirates last week, and it's time to take a look at the District 10 4A standings. After the first game, all 8 teams played last week. And right now, the Scots are in a 4-way tie at the bottom of the table, as you've got Highland Park, North Forney, and Terrell all at 0-1. It's Newman Smith, Creekview, Poteet, and West Mesquite. So the Carrollton and Mesquite schools are doing very well as they're all at 1-0. And as we take a look at the first rotation results in round 1 on Friday, it was Poteet taking down Highland Park 47-40. It was Newman Smith destroying Terrell 85-52. There were 9 players that scored in that game for the Trojans, led by Steven Spurlock's 19. West Mesquite got a good game from North Forney, a very good squad playing its first 4A season. They were an excellent 3A basketball team, and they've shown they can hang thus far as this season. They're 8-3. They picked up their 3rd loss of the year, going to West Mesquite and nearly pulling off the upset. They had a big comeback effort that fell just short. They fell to the Wranglers 66-62. There were 5 players in double figures for West Mesquite. North Forney trailed by 26 after the 3rd quarter in that game, then outscored West Mesquite 28-6 in the 4th, but fell just short. And there were some rough starts to the first and second halves for the Falcons as they were outscored in the first quarter 19-6 and then 27-11 in the 3rd. And then it was Creekview taking down Forney 63-50. Creekview jumped out to a 21-10 lead in that one after the first quarter and really never looked back. So you've got Newman Smith at 8-6 overall, 1-0 in district play. The Creekview Mustangs at 8-7. They've come back. They had a losing record after the first few games of the season, but they're now 8-7 overall, 1-0 in district play. The Poteet Pirates at 4-9. You can expect that record to get a little better, I think, as the first part of the season was played without some of their talented players. They had 7 football players on the varsity roster.
Yeah, of course, they went very deep in football this year.
A very good football team there for the Pirates of Poteet. I think we'll continue to see their overall record in basketball improve as well. They sure look like they could be a contender by taking down the Scots last week at the Highlander Fieldhouse. West Mesquite, a top 10 ranked state team by the Texas Association of Basketball Coaches. They're 10-3. 2 of those losses are to Arlington Seguin, who's the top ranked 4th 4A team in the state. So in teams not named Arlington Seguin, they are now 10-1. They had their first district win by taking down North Forney on Friday. And then you've got Highland Park at 12-4, North Forney at 8-3, Forney at 3-9, and Terrell at 3-14. So that's a look at the district standings brought to you by Texas Capital Bank.
And Brian, overall, the league, in terms of Highland Park's outlook, obviously not a good start considering that the Highland Park ran the table in district play last year and starts out 0-1. But overall, I think it's a league that, maybe not as strong as in years past. You lose McKinney, you lose Rockwall, a couple teams that were really, really strong, and you add teams like Forney and Terrell that might not be as strong. So even though Highland Park didn't start well, I think look for them to close strong in district play.
Well, the Highland Park Scots closed strong in the second quarter of this one. They're at halftime, leading the Irving Tigers in opening round play of the 2012 Plano Wildcat Holiday Classic, 42-16. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have the third quarter of play. Much more after this.
This presentation is brought to you by HPTV. If you or someone you know would like to sponsor this unique TV station, please email Mrs. Kelly Snowder at snowdeck@hpasd.org. And from all of us here at HPTV, we thank you for watching.
Welcome back to Plano Senior High School, where the Highland Park Scots are all over the Irving Tigers in opening round play at the half, 42-16. The leading scorer for the Highland Park Scots in the first half was Chase Fletcher. He had 9 points. Clayton Murtha had 7. Matthew Kreitz with 7 as well. We're getting confirmation on the last three-pointer hit in that one. We gave it to Trey Garrison. We'll see if that ends up being correct. If it is, then Garrison had 8 points in the first half. But the Scots looking much better after scoring only 40 points against Poteet in the entire game. They have 42 in the first half against the Irving Tigers. I'm Brian Sutcliffe along with Miles Dunklin. Hope you had a wonderful holiday. I suppose it's not over yet as the Scots have their last action here in the Plano Wildcat Holiday Classic of 2012. The Scots hoping to better their second round advancement of last year's tournament. The Scots were beaten by Creekview in the second round a season ago and then decided not to play McKinney in the consolation game as both coaches Watson and Peeler for the two squads fully understood that the teams would play 2 very emotional games during district play. So better not to risk it. It will be your starting 5 out there on the floor for the Scots. Number 3, Matt Frischilla. Number 20, Will Miller. Number 10, Matthew Kreitz. Number 2, Chase Fletcher. And number 52, Clayton Murtha.
Yeah, same 5 that started the game for Highland Park, and a couple halftime numbers for you. Scots were 14-24 from the field, so very efficient. Also out-rebounded Irving 23-11.
David Brown gives Irving their first points of the second half. Fletcher pushed it down low to the baseline for the cutting Will Miller. He missed the shot. Irving comes the other way. Shot was missed. Rebound by Clayton Murtha. So Miles, David Peeler's been able to really use just about everybody off of his bench. We saw Campbell Brooks here, the JV call-up, has his first points as a varsity player. Had 2 points in the first half.
Yeah, we saw Stevie Smathers get in there, who had a lot of run so far this year. He was able to get a rebound, and as Miller cranks a 3, he's good. That's 2 for 2 for Miller. He hit a 3-pointer as well in the first half. And Scots are now 3 of 4 from the outside. They've pretty much done well in every facet of the game so far. They lead by 27. Steal that time by Fletcher.
Will take it up, and he's into double figures. He has 11 points. He's the leading scorer for Highland Park.
And he scores, really just at will. He's just a very efficient offensive player. Really can do it all. We see him throw it down. He can hit the outside shot. Got a block right there.
Murtha will just hand it off to Fraschillo, brings it into the front court. Scots by 29, 47-18. As he goes down, finds Fletcher in the corner, and the Scots will slow things down.
Yeah, this is really, from this point out, really kind of a formal practice. And as you're just trying to learn and teach your squad as much as possible, with the score getting a little bit out of control, and certainly happy to give some of the studs a little bit extra time to rest, considering that this is a tournament this week. We're going to have another game tomorrow.
The Scots will have 2 games tomorrow if everything goes according to plan. So you want to keep your guys fresh, as every Scots player has already played in the game. We've got 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Fraschilla down to the floor, and quickly Irving's picked up 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes or so of the third quarter.
Yeah, I was talking to Jonathan Canner, one of the managers for Highland Park, and said everything at halftime was really positive for the Scots. Very happy, dominant rebounding performance. A turnover by Matt that time.
Brown will go one-on-one against Miller, and Brown wins this trip. David Brown with 7 points. He leads the way for Irving, who has only 20 points.
You know, Matt will turn the ball over occasionally, but it's really just because he's such a playmaker. That time getting into the lane, Murtha gets himself an offensive rebound.
And you wonder how much more we've seen Matt probably be as aggressive shooting the ball as we've seen him in many games this season. Is Matt always looking to get his teammates involved?
Sure.
You know, he's, as you talked a little bit.
A game.
You talked a little bit about some new statistics the NBA is showing his points responsible for, and when you look at the numbers that Matt Fraschillo's put up just in the assist totals, you know, he's responsible for a lot of points.
Yeah, when Highland Park's averaging, 55 points a game, and he's got 9 assists per, he's certainly responsible for a lot of what Highland Park does. And if you were to count hockey assists and the amount of times he simply just puts the offense in the right place to succeed by putting the ball in the right hands, like he does right here. It's a perfect example right there. Not an assist for Matt Fraschilla, but he finds Fletcher down the block. Fletcher to Murtha. What a great combination those 2 big guys have been tonight.
Perfect timing by Chase to pass that out of the double to the cutting Murtha. Murtha now with 9 points.
That's exactly what I was talking about with a hockey assist. In hockey, they give 2 assists, and Matt could have gotten 1 right there for sure.
Villatoro, not quite enough on that, but David Brown cleans up the garbage. He has 9 points, so a good start to the second half for David Brown. He has 9 points now in the game, but it's all Scotties, 49-22.
I think more than anything, you're just happy to see the ball go in the basket at the kind of clip that it has today. 3 for 4 from the outside. Everything's been working. Here's Fletcher down low. Thought he was fouled that time.
I thought we'd get a call one way or the other there. Brown.
Feeling it.
Can't hit that. Knocked away from Ivan Perla.
Yeah, good job by Chase. Very active.
Fraschilla moves left, finds some room on the baseline.
He's got a little, Steve Nash in him, a guy you'll see, drive the baseline, continue to keep the dribble, really just probing the defense. Not necessarily looking for his shot, but always getting other guys involved. See some wholesale changes for Highland Park as Stiganga, Kahn, Garrison, Wilson, and that would be
Livingston out there
as the 5th man.
Jake will run the point. 2nd on the team in assist-to-turnover ratio. So he's been very careful with the basketball this year. Under 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Scots lead at 49-22. Villatoro to the trainer, like it was Kivon Thomas, got his 3rd and 4th points of the game. 73 is the high water mark offensively for the Scots this year. That was also in a tournament. It was against Wichita Falls. Coach David Peeler wants a timeout with 3:35 left. The winner of this one will get either Richardson or Southeast Oklahoma City Richardson's had a pretty nice season. It's a team the Scots have already played. They played them down to the wire in a very narrow victory on the road at Richardson early on this season. And, you know, coaches typically don't like to see teams they've already played. You like to get a taste for what different teams bring to the floor. So I would imagine that if the Scots would rather see Southeast Oklahoma City, that may be a better team than Richardson. We don't, obviously, it's tough to get a lot of information about teams from other states, certainly, in these parts. But, you know, it gives you something else to look at. HP was really lamenting the fact that they didn't get to play Burke-Burnett in the Bulldog Classic because Burke-Burnett, a squad that likes to go full court pressure basically the entire game. The Scots wanted to see how they'd be able to handle that, but the fates didn't quite line up for that one as HP ended up demolishing White House in the final of that tournament.
You know, Highland Park's really going to, like I said, this is really just kind of extended practice time, and the reason you play tournaments like this, you want to keep your guys fresh, you want to keep them playing a lot of basketball, and obviously they've already started district play. The rest of the big chunk of district play still on the horizon, so just trying to, you know, finally tune the team as best they can. Hopefully over these next 11 minutes of action here in this game, they can get a little more confidence in some of these extra role players coming off the bench. Certainly valuable minutes. You know, you think, well, they're up by 25, but if you're a guy like Ben Livingston or Trey Garrison, you're trying to earn extra minutes in this time. So certainly still crucial action for everybody.
Well, it's still very early in district play, but you look at the calendar, and next week the Scots have to go to West Mesquite. And after losing the Poteet game, you don't want to say that's a must-win if you want to defend your district championship, but you need to be playing very well because to start 0-2 in district play in this league where you've got quality opponents like Newman Smith, looks like North Forney's got a good squad, West Mesquite's a top 10 ranked state team. You go 0-2 and you're going to be in some trouble. Good little jump stop. There's a block. Livingston earns a trip to the line.
Yeah, I really think this team, Brian, maybe not in comparison to years past. It's always hard to compare, but this team, in relation to firepower, they certainly have a lot on this team. It's maybe spread out a little more balanced, or equally just a very deep rotation for Coach Peeler this year. In years past, maybe only goes 8 or 9 guys deep, but this year, really using the whole bench today. We've seen every guy in action.
We'll take this opportunity to remind you that HP Basketball's annual Hoops and Hot Sauce dinner and auction is coming up Friday, February 1st. For more information on tickets, underwriting, and auction donations, email hoopsandhotsauce@gmail.com. Brian Sutcliffe here with Miles Dunklin. We got a great crew who's taken time from their winter break to bring you the sights and sounds here. You've got Kelly Snowden producing, Drew Allman, our fearless director, Alex Kramer up on the high cam, Connor Palacios down on the floor. So it's a big crew here in Plano. We hope you've enjoyed it. We're honored that you've taken some time from your holiday to catch a little HP Scots basketball, and the Scots have treated us to quite a show thus far, leading by 25, 49-24.
Yeah, they shot about 70% from the floor in the first half. That's always going to get it done.
You will normally win shooting 70%.
Especially they taking very good care of the ball. They've rebounded well. Dominant performance on the glass by Highland Park. It's to me, it's been the two big guys. It's been Murtha and Fletcher. Those two guys are out on the floor. Very tough to contend with because not only can they both, you throw it down to them on the block, and they can, with the back to the basket, get themselves a pretty decent shot. They're very well-rounded players. They both rebound. They both hit the offensive glass. They both pass the ball well, and they work very well together.
Livingston goes 2 for 2. He has 2 points as David Brown is just cranking it up for wherever he can get it. I don't blame him. He's been pretty good here in the second half. He's got 9 points to lead all Irving scorers, but they have only 24 points as the Scots lead at 51-24.
Yeah, certainly seems like he's got the green light. Highland Park, on the other hand, really just wants to run some offense and get a little more finely tuned in the half court.
Garrison a little short. Rebound by the smallest player on the floor, Nelson Villatoro. Brown was fouled on his way to the basket. Stops the clock with 2:05 left in the third. HP by 27, 51-24.
Yeah, Brown's going for a career high or something. He's out there playing super aggressive.
He had 13 against Faith Family Academy, one of the 2 wins for Irving this year. They beat Faith Family 59-55 and then actually won their district opener against Irving Nimitz 41-39. Brown now has 10 points as he goes 1 for 2. Garrison's bottled up, double team pressure. Stripped out by Brown, but Brown the last to touch it. 14 fouls now against Irving, just 1 against the Scots.
The other thing that Coach Peeler can kind of feel out during these blowout games is what combination of players or even a couple of guys out there work well together. What lineups work best? What does a certain group of guys do well? What players like to run certain plays and fit well with each other, and certainly this time here as Livingston's trapped in the corner and well to split the double. I think he ended up drawing a foul there.
That he did. It'll be the 5th against Irving.
The more game action these guys can see, maybe you need a rebound or a basket from a Ben Livingston, later on down the road, and certainly this kind of extended minutes in this moment right here can help get the team ready.
Little baseline drive by Steganga, left it a little short. .118 left, 51-25 Scots.
About to see a parade of sophomores enter the game.
Here's Mitchell. Brown will try it from the right side. It was halfway down. He's missed a couple like that in this game.
Yeah, good rebound that time by Matt.
Livingston was body checked near the free throw line. That'll be the 6th foul against Irving. So once again, the Scots will be shooting a lot of free throws here the rest of the way. They've already fired up 20 in this game. They're 14 for 20 from the line. A nice 70% clip. Here's number 23, Campbell Brooks. Number 4, Mitchell Kaufman. Number 14, Ryan Brady, as Garrison and Wilson remain on the floor.
And I'll tell you what, Brian, Oklahoma State's going to get a great prospect when Matt Wilson arrives on campus. One of the things they like about him is he really hasn't had extended time in the offseason for baseball. He's been playing hoops and doing some other different things. So when he gets extended time in the weight room, I think that fastball maybe could tick up to maybe hit the 90s, and he's going to be quite a prospect. Really excited for his future. ERA hovered around 1 all season long in baseball season.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that usually gets it done. 6'4", left-handed is a pretty good place to start.
We've been dropping a lot of knowledge in this one. Like shooting 70% on the basketball floor is good, and having an ERA under 1 is also good in baseball. Okay. What's also been very good is the Scots free throw shooting in this one. Now 16 for 22 at the line.
Kaufman, nice play there.
36 seconds left. There's Wills. Over to Brown, closed off nicely by Garrison and Brooks.
I think Brooks has played very well. It certainly doesn't seem like the stage is too bright for him. He's his first ever varsity performance, something that these guys dream about their whole lives since they're in middle school, watching watching HPTV on TV, and I think Campbell's played very well.
Jimenez missed the shot. Rebound Mitchell. He turned and fired and was fouled by Mitchell Kaufman.
Yeah, 3 sophomores out there: Brady, Brooks, and Kaufman. Out there with Garrison and Wilson.
3rd foul against Highland Park sends Kishan Mitchell to the line where he hits the first. That's his first point of the game.
Scots have really taken the foot off the gas. Only saw the starters for just a few minutes here in the 3rd quarter. I would imagine that Fletcher and Murtha, along with Frischella, will sit for the majority of the 4th quarter as well, as they're getting ready for 2 games tomorrow. I want to keep some fresh legs. That's another one of the reasons why blowing out Irving today has been such a good thing for Highland Park.
Less than 10 seconds left. Brady over to his sophomore teammate Kaufman. Kaufman will scoop it to the right block from Matt Wilson. That worked well in every respect except putting it in the basket. But the Highland Park Scots look set to head to the second round. They're all over the Irving Tigers, 53-27 after 3. At Texas Capital Bank, we're driven by an unwavering mission to serve Texas businesses and the entrepreneurs and families who run them. Since our beginning in 1998, we've grown into one of the state's largest independent banks, with offices in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and San Antonio. Texas Capital Bank is proud to support the Highland Park Scots and wishes the team great success this season. 53-27 after 3. The Scots looking good to move on to the second round tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning. They'll take on either Richardson or Southeast Oklahoma City. Again, it was Wiley East falling to Jesuit in the first game of the tournament at 9:30 this morning, 76-36. Mesquite defeated Frisco Heritage 66-59, and it was Prosper in overtime defeating Lake Highlands 84-74.
That was quite a game we saw. Waiting for this one to start.
So you'll have your first two quarterfinal matchups already set. It'll be Marcus and Jesuit, as Jesuit having to play 2 games today. They'll take on Marcus at 8 p.m. tonight, and then in the first game tomorrow, you'll have Mesquite and Prosper at 10 o'clock in the morning. It looks like HP and either Richardson or Southeast Oklahoma City will then play at 11:30. If the Scots are able to win that one, they would then play the nightcap tomorrow at 7:30 in the second semifinal. It's Garrison, Brady, Wilson, Mitchell, and Brooks on the floor for the Scots.
I think Garrison's going to be a guy who's going to be a pivotal role player for Highland Park this year. When he steps his game up, it's really an added dimension for Highland Park with some real instant offense off the bench. One of the few guys on the team, as he does right here, that can really get his own shot off the dribble, shoot from the outside as well. So they're going to be a guy that the Highland Park's going to rely on at some points this season to get a basket.
There's Ryan Brady hitting his first three-pointer of the season. He's got a season high, 7 points.
Yeah, this is what we talk about when we say that Highland Park's got a lot more depth than they've had in previous years. A guy like Ryan Brady is going to get minutes in meaningful games this year. He might be maybe the 10th guy off the bench, but he's still going to get 4 to 5 minutes in pivotal games where the game's still in doubt. They just have a lot of different guys off the bench that can come in and do different things.
Scotty's by 29. 3 very short by Kevon Thomas. Brooks into the corner for Brady.
Looks like Brooks is going to be one of those guys similar to Will Miller that's really good enough to be on varsity, but is a guy who's going to get some real seasoning at the JV level, and then by the time that he steps in next year, really going to be a real weapon, because I'm sure Will Miller last year as a junior maybe would have rather been on varsity, probably would have sat at the end of the bench and gotten 2 to 3 minutes a game.
We saw a lot of him last year, and you wondered, you watched him,
JV.
you said, man, I'm really surprised he's not a varsity player, because, you know, JV was just, you didn't have guys that could handle him very well. He was a prolific scorer at the JV level, and he's really
prolific scorer now.
Picked it up here at the varsity squad.
Yeah, not many guys, like we said before, are able to shoot 50 from the field, about 40 from the three-point line, and 90 from the free throw line. Very efficient offensive player. But I think he really was helped out a lot last year by Coach Peeler's decision to keep him on JV and get him some extra seasoning. Really has a lot of confidence now this season. Emerged, I think, really as one of the stars of this team.
Villatoro, high arcing 3 off the back iron. 50-50 ball won by the sophomore Ryan Brady. He's having the best game of his varsity career. He missed the shot, but he'll shoot 2.
Very aggressive play that time by Brady. Coach Peeler says he likes what a heady player he is. I think that the future of this Scott program bright when you look down the list. Kaufman is sophomore, Kreitz a junior, Stiganga a junior, Brady a sophomore, and Kahn and Murtha should be pretty effective next year. Both juniors coming back.
Brady expands on his career high. He now has 9. And the Scots are 18 for 24 at the line.
Yeah, Brady's high point on the season so far was only 2 points. So relatively speaking, an outburst here this afternoon for Ryan Brady, finally getting some extended minutes out there. Like I said before, all these guys buying for those extra minutes here at the end of the bench. So don't tell them, hey, 20, 31-point game here, this doesn't matter. No, absolutely. These guys trying to show Coach Peeler what they can do in some real game action when given extended minutes, and Brady has been very good.
6-team foul against the Scots, so both teams shoot the penalty for the rest of the game. Wills has 4 points, all from the free throw line. Wilson tried to find Mitchell Kaufman down low. It's a 2-on-2. Here comes Wills. Wills gets the continuation. He missed the shot. So these officials clearly with no place to be here on a late Thursday afternoon.
I think it really speaks volumes, Brian, that Matt Wilson was elected a captain, considering there are seniors on this squad that play more, that are a little more involved in the game plan. But it really just speaks to his overall, what a good guy he is, his leadership ability. Guys look to him during practice. Always knows where to be at the right time. When you ask any of the coaches about Matt Wilson, they light up and talk about his integrity and what a great guy he is overall.
Wills goes 1 for 2. Scots lead by 28, 58-30, 5:34 left in the fourth. Brian Sutcliffe with Miles Dunklin, the rest of the gang that have made the trip to Plano.
I had a coach from the middle school level tell me, we need to get Matt Wilson into the Naval Academy or something like that, because it would be a shame to have him not serving our country. Pretty high praise, I think. Oklahoma State will have a good one.
Kaufman at the top of the 1-3-1. 5-4, Villatoro. Wills gets the pass from Coley, takes it up strong. Offensive foul.
Matt Wilson, right place, right time. That's why he's the senior captain, willing to step in and take a shot.
Scots turn it over. Christian Jimenez with just his 4th and 5th points of the game.
Coach Peeler's had this same lineup in there for maybe the last 5 minutes or so, giving these guys some extended run. Good feed by Garrison. Like I said before, he's one of the guys on this team, look at maybe Frischilla, Kreitz, DeGanga, but that's about it in terms of guys that can get their own shot off the dribble. And Garrison can certainly create offensively.
Southpaw pots the first. One for 2 this time. Scots have attempted 26 free throws, 18 in the first half.
Wow.
There have been 37 free throws attempted between the teams. These will be the 10th and 11th attempted by Irving. They only shot 2 in the first half.
I think these officials, Brian, must be getting paid by the hour. Usually in a not very good at math. I believe that's 27-point lead. You kind of swallow the whistle a little bit.
You nailed that, dude.
Yeah. You do adding and subtracting.
Absolutely killed that. Garrison takes a step in. Can't hit that little mid-range jumper. Toilet bowls out. And Villatoro's shown a little bit of contribution at both ends of the floor for a guy that's just 5'4".
And forced that one badly. But you're right. Overall, he's played very well. Finally, a sub for Highland Park. Looks like Livingston will come in. Great reverse by Matt Wilson. And he points to Ryan Brady. Nice assist by Ryan. He's played very well.
Looks like Smathers and Livingston getting set to check in. Straight on long three. That's just sort of a give-up play there as Irving's about ready to
Great play by
head
Kaufman.
for the exits. And Ryan Brady has a double-figure game for the first time in his career. He has 11 points.
Yeah, Brady doing a nice job running the break, and a good job by Kaufman, not only getting the rebound, leading the fast break, getting the assist. Kind of a poor man's Andrew Barnes, wearing the number 4 that Andrew wore last year. Just a very scrappy, heady, tough player.
Garrison, very patient of the Scots.
He thought about taking the 3 right there.
Instead, he'll take a long 2 and put it through.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. They can give the ball to Trey on the wing, without a play run for him, and just say, hey, go get your own shot. And more often than not, he can put the ball in the bucket.
(65-33) Scots, 2.5 minutes left.
Oh, that was good D by Kaufman. I don't know what
We haven't
wrong
had
with
many
that.
trips to either end of the floor in the second half that haven't resulted in free throws.
Oh, that was pretty solid defense by Mitchell Kaufman.
All right, real quick, by how many are the Scots up right now? Go.
I think that's 32.
Oh, 2 for 2, brother. 2 for 2. You got an all-Aggie booth here.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you right now.
Mathematics, not the strong suit.
You just smoked that, though. It's, you've been practicing.
Yeah. Got the flashcards.
That abacus I got you for Christmas is working out. Livingston into the game along with Stevie Smathers. They remain out there with Ryan Brady, Campbell Brooks, and Mitchell Kaufman.
Kick ball on Michael Coley. Kaufman got the rebound.
And, Coley's a guy that can go for 20-plus very easily. He has only 4 points in this game.
Yeah, Highland Park does, one of the things they do well, they scout well. They're obviously well coached. I've always spoken about the coachability that Highland Park has. The reason why Coach Peeler wanted to take this job was because of the coachability that Highland Park has. But they do a very good job of eliminating what the other team does best. Brady that time being very aggressive, but called for the charge. When they find out, all right, this is what we need to take away from the other team, and Michael Coley, who had 19 in their last game, and Kristen Jimenez, number 23, who had 17, and they've both been held at bay.
This is a building that Coach Peeler has coached a few games in during his stint at Plano West.
Yeah, when Coach Peeler, this is maybe, 6 years ago now, dating ourselves, so we see another foul here. But Coach Peeler told me when he took this job, it was like winning the lottery without buying a ticket, because he knew that when you're at Highland Park, you're going to have players that are going to be receptive to your coaching. They're not going to be hard-headed. They're going to be good, hard-working kids with integrity. And that's what Highland Park brings to the table that he thought was so attractive, was that he knows that when he coaches these kids up, that they're going to be willing to do what he asks them to do, and not have an attitude about it. And that's why he's been so successful here at Highland Park.
After having only 4 players score against Poteet, Highland Park has 10 that have notched points in this game.
And another foul. Both teams in the double bonus. You don't normally see that in a game in which it was a 20-point lead at halftime. But the officials, like you said, don't have anywhere to be after this one.
Brady misses the first of 2 with 1:41 left. All Scots 65-36. HP will move on to play either Richardson or Southeast Oklahoma City. It's a little more like it. Brady with 12 points. Having the best game of his life.
Is that a game high for Highland Park?
That it is. Three-pointer made, this one by Luis Ronquillo. This one all over, only the final score in doubt.
Yeah, Brady along with Kaufman and Campbell Brooks, guys that got to get some good run on JV last year as freshmen, as opposed to playing them on the freshman team. And to play against some juniors and sophomores on JV. I think that'll technically go down as a dunk.
That's a dunk. We're going to call that a dunk. Use some serious English.
Oh, wow.
As Campbell Brooks, nice flash to the cup.
Yeah, good strong take by Campbell. One of the things I've liked from him, he has not been sheepish. You see a lot of guys maybe in their first varsity action play a little hot potato when they get the ball and just pass it to somebody else. But Campbell's been very aggressive with the rock, showing some real confidence.
Campbell dressed for the Poteet game, but he didn't play as Ronquillo, too little too late here as the Scots lead it by 24, 68-44. And if it's possible for a 24-point game to be somewhat flattering, you know, the HP has, up by nearly 30 in the second half and certainly took the foot off the gas a bit in the second half.
Well, considering that the starters only played for a couple minutes and this group on the floor is basically all sophomores, Highland Park certainly did take the pedal off the gas, but still had enough to win by 24, a really dominant performance overall.
So the Scots have now won 8 straight tournament games. Heading all the way back to the HP Scott Classic, the Scotties looking to win their 3rd consecutive non-district tournament this year and off to a great start. They defeat the Irving Tigers 68-44. The Scots move to 13-4 this season and will move on to tomorrow's game at 11:30 a.m. against either Richardson or Southeast Oklahoma City. So lots of guys in the scorebooks in this one. Chase Fletcher had 9, Matt Fraschilla with 2, Trey Garrison had 7, Matthew Kreitz with 7 of his own, Ben Livingston with 2. Ryan Brady led the team in scoring a career-high 12. He didn't score in the first quarter, so he really lit it up as the Scots really opened up that deficit starting for about 5 minutes. The 5-minute mark of the first quarter, this game was close for a few minutes, and then the Scots really dropped the hammer and ended up coasting to the easy 24-point win. Campbell Brooks in his first varsity action had 4 points. Will Miller had 11. Matt Wilson with 3. Derek Kahn with 2. And Clayton Murtha with 9. So this was the first action for the Scots of any kind. This was the first day after the end of school since the game against Poteet that the Scots could have any basketball activity. Had no practices between the Poteet game and this one, and you really saw no carryover from that disappointing loss last Friday.
Well, it says a lot about what Highland Park, the makeup of their team, guys that are always going to be ready to go and not going to come in from Christmas fat and happy and always focused, ready to roll. They were certainly a lot more focused than Irving was today. And I think this is a game that maybe if you play it 10 times, Highland Park probably wins all 10 times. Just too much all the way around. Early on, it was the big guys. It was Fletcher and Murtha with a dominant performance. They had 2 of 3 from the outside in the first half, dominated rebounding, assists. I mean, you name it. They were the better team today. Really just didn't matter what Highland Park did or what Irving did today because Highland Park was a lot better.
We'll remind you one more time that at Texas Capital Bank, we're driven by an unwavering mission to serve Texas businesses and the entrepreneurs and families who run them. Since our beginning in 1998, we've grown into one of the state's largest independent banks, with offices in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and San Antonio. Texas Capital Bank is proud to support the Highland Park Scots and wishes the team great success this season. Great success for the Scotties. They're heading on to the second round. They take down Irving 68-44. We hope you'll join us for our next broadcast. We'll tip things off at 11:30 tomorrow morning as HP will take on either Richardson or Southeast Oklahoma City. We had a great crew bringing you this one. Kelly Snowden, our producer. Drew Allman doing a great job as always directing. Alex Kramer up on the high cam. Connor Palacios, the wild man, down on the floor. Miles Dunklin, great job, my man. Good to have you here. Let's hope we got a nice long tourney run in these Highland Park Scots as they try to go for their 3rd tournament championship of the season. Until tomorrow morning, I'm Brian Sutcliffe. So long, everybody.
This presentation is brought to you by HPTV. If you or someone you know would like to sponsor this unique TV station, please email Mrs. Kelly Snowden at snowdeck@hpasd.org. And from all of us here at HPTV, we thank you for watching.